Can the United States actually survive a full-scale invasion? For more than 250 years, no foreign army has managed to conquer the American mainland. Not once. The British tried during the early days of the country. They even burned parts of Washington, D.C. in 1814. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor during World War II. Yet despite these attacks, no invading army has ever successfully taken control of the United States. Over time, every major power that studied the map reached the same conclusion. Invading America would not simply be a war. For most nations, it would be a logistical nightmare. But imagine for a moment that it actually happened. What would a real invasion of the United States look like? History shows that attempts have occurred, though only in limited ways. In 1814, British forces briefly captured Washington and burned several government buildings. In 1916, Mexican revolutionary Pancho Villa crossed into New Mexico and attacked American territory before retreating back across the border. And during World War II, Japan occupied 2 remote islands in Alaska for a short period of time. Even in those cases, the environment itself proved dangerous. Harsh weather and difficult terrain caused heavy losses for soldiers on both sides. One major reason the United States has never been invaded successfully is geography. Look at the map. 2 enormous oceans surround the country: the Atlantic Ocean to the east and the Pacific Ocean to the west. These oceans are not just bodies of water. They act like massive natural barriers. Crossing thousands of miles of open ocean with an invading army would require enormous resources, fuel, and protection from naval and air attacks. During World War II, when the United States launched its own operations across the Pacific, it took years of preparation and massive fleets of ships and aircraft. Any nation attempting the same journey toward North America would face similar challenges. And even if an enemy fleet somehow reached the American coastline, the difficulties would only begin. The Pacific Northwest, for example, is dominated by steep cliffs, rough seas, and unpredictable weather. Heavy storms, strong currents, and dangerous coastal terrain make landing operations extremely risky. Further inland, the geography becomes even more complex. The United States contains deserts, mountains, forests, plains, and swamps. The Rocky Mountains divide the western region, the Appalachian Mountains stretch across the east, and vast rivers and plains create natural obstacles throughout the country. For any invading army, maintaining supply lines across such terrain would be incredibly difficult. Another factor is the size of the population. More than 330 million people live in the United States. Millions of civilians are familiar with firearms and local terrain. In a prolonged conflict, this could create widespread resistance and guerrilla warfare. Modern technology adds another powerful layer of defense. Satellites, radar systems, drones, and surveillance networks make it extremely difficult for large military forces to move unnoticed. An invading fleet crossing an ocean would likely be detected long before it reached the shoreline. Because of this, some analysts argue that if a country ever wanted to weaken the United States, it might first attempt to create instability from within, through cyber attacks, economic disruption, or information warfare. These methods could target power grids, communication systems, or financial networks. However, even those approaches carry serious risks. Any large-scale conflict between major powers could escalate into catastrophic consequences, especially given the presence of nuclear weapons. In the end, the idea of conquering the United States through a traditional invasion remains extremely unlikely. Geography, military capability, technology, and population all combine to make such an operation incredibly difficult. Which leads to one final question. If the United States were ever to face a major threat to its stability, would that threat come from outside forces or from internal divisions within the country itself? That debate continues today, and it may be the most important question of all.